Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Career Lab Podcast. That's CLP for you people who use abbreviations. This is the long-running, this is our 7th season. Can you believe that, Julie?
It's a long time. We've been doing this, yes.
So, we were podcasting, before time began, really.
And before podcasts were a podcast thing.
That's sure. Right, exactly. So this show is devoted to understanding career growth and challenges and transitions. We normally have experts on the show who share their career track, their career arc and experience. And we learn not only about how they got to where they are, but also about what happened along the way. And so that gives all of you who are listening, watching, a chance to understand more about what they do and also how they got there. And it's really a cool format. Sometimes we have people call in with career problems, and we help them as well. Primarily, that's where Julie shows why she's America's career counselor, because she's doing that every day. Pardon me, you're doing that every day, handling career problems. And of course, as an executive coach and business consultant and professional mediator, I'm doing a lot of the same kind of work at more of a business corporate level. So that's a little bit about the show. For those of you who know us, great to have you back. So today's show is going to be very interesting. And we have one special guest, and we're going to get to that in just a few minutes. Before we do, let me turn the mic over to my wonderful special host, Julie LaCroix.
Well, hi, Joel, and hi, everybody else. For those of you who are watching and listening today, what Joel just described is really a special journey for he and I to share with you what are really career development best practices in multiple formats. So that's the goal of the Career Lab podcast, is to help you build and manage a sustainable and meaningful career. And we show you how to do that through kind of 3 different ways. One, we do career counseling. If you need career counseling and want to call into the show, find us, send us an email, shoot us a text, tell us you'd like to be a guest. We'd love to solve your puzzle right here live on the show so that other people can learn from you and you can get the help you need. Secondly, like Joel just described, we like to have established professionals come on and retrospectively share their journey so that you can see what careers look like as they're built. Instead of trying to project, you can look historically at how people have done it, navigated their way to success. And then today is going to be kind of one of the third formats that we do from time to time, which is bringing in a subject matter expert to not just talk about interesting new developments and emerging technologies and emerging thoughts, but what they really mean for jobs in general and for possibly careers or your job. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to talk to Vincent Serpico, who's an AI expert and a business consultant. He's always been ahead of the curve in AI, and he's an evangelist of AI and knows a lot about the tools and the strengths and weaknesses and opportunities and threats of AI. And so we're going to listen to what he has to say. But our angle with Vincent is really to extract what you, the worker, needs to know about how AI is going to be affecting your workplace. So that's what I'm most looking forward to today, is giving everybody a little bit more insight.
Well said. That is one of the main things we wanted to do today. We've done another episode featuring AI, and what we've been getting feedback about is a lot of people are still both confused and getting adjusted, not really knowing the technology. So Julie and I have been thinking it would be good to bring at least one more guest on who's very specially expert in this area, so all of our listeners can gain more knowledge about what they're really doing, because most of us are still kind of rookies when it comes to really using AI. However, our guest is not.
Hey everybody, Julie LaCroix here from the Career Lab podcast. Just want to give a shout out to Douceur Global Education. Douceur.education is the website. If you're looking for an easy access, low price online solution to getting an MBA, Douceur Global is your place to go. They offer amazing faculty, incredible speakers, customized education to your line of work. And do you need a bachelor's degree? You don't. If you have 5 years of management experience experience or equivalent, and you're looking to advance your career, maybe move out of a family business, move into a different company in your current industry where they're looking for some additional training, or you just want to be promoted and get some professional development, please reach out to DoSer Global. It's doser.education. They have the solution for you. It's a wonderful intersection between professional mobility and academic pathway, academic progression. DoSer Global Education.
So without further ado, let's bring him in. Vincent, why don't you join us? And we'll see if we can get him to come on in the room and talk to us a little bit about his career, his challenges, his successes, and what he can share with all of us about AI. Hey, Vincent, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good. Really nice to see you today on the show. And as you may have heard in the intro section we were doing, one of the great things about having you on today was to allow you to sort of help a lot of people who are still understanding and developing and understanding how to utilize and having the kind of expertise that you do. Hopefully you can share some of that, which is probably highly rudimentary for you, but may be very useful for them. So we're glad to have you on.
Hopefully, yeah.
Before we do that, though, in looking at your work profile and your history, you're doing a lot of really interesting things. So maybe you want to give us a short flyover of some of the main things you're doing professionally these days.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So I own a Founders Workshop. Founders Workshop builds, mobile apps, web apps, system workflows, and integrations for SMBs and entrepreneurs. Been doing it about 15 years, and the last probably year or so, we've been flooded with SMBs and entrepreneurs looking to either put AI into their operations or build AI first applications. So we've been doing a lot of that lately, and you just kind of back up a little bit. I've been programming since I was 14. I taught myself on a Commodore 64. You ever heard of a Commodore 64? And yeah, that's cool.
I think that's what I learned on.
I saw that on your bio. Yeah, that was fantastic.
Yeah, it was so cool. I just remember, coming home from school and in ninth grade and spending the weekends just reading the manual and learning how to code. It was amazing. My point is I've been doing this for a really long time. Let me tell you, I have never seen anything come anywhere close to what AI is. Look, I went through the entire internet. Mobile, cloud storage. I've seen it all. I really have. But I've never seen anything close to this for many, many different reasons. And so anyway, that's kind of a high-level overview.
Fantastic. Well, I know that you have a number of projects going. And just before we dive into more about the AI, do you have a Smash Room project going? What is that?
Yeah. So my wife and I are owners of Breakthrough Smash Room. It is the #1 rage room in Arizona, and do a couple of 4 years of owning it.
Tell us a little bit about what happens there.
Oh yeah, sure. So a Smash Room or a rage room is a place where people go to release stress by breaking things. The idea is that you go in there and you have a cathartic release of stress by breaking bottles and dishes and toilets and sinks and literally everything. We host several thousand people a week. We're extremely busy. We mostly do date nights or people coming in girls' night out, guys' night out, stuff like that. But we also do events like bachelor and bachelorette parties, divorce parties. We do corporate events are probably our biggest right now. Anywhere between 20, 30, 40 people. Birthday parties, family gatherings are really popular. We weren't expecting that one actually, but family gatherings are really popular. But yeah, if you need to release some stress, come on down. It's extremely healthy, cathartic, and safe way to release stress. By the way, a lot of our reviews say cheaper than therapy and more effective. And yeah, I back that.
What do people smash?
What do they smash? Everybody gets a crate that's full with a hybrid of glass and electronics, but we have tons and tons of add-ons like windshields, toilets, sinks, printers, keyboards, you name it. It's got literally everything. It's a really fun place.
Well, it's great to see a person who's primarily a tech specialist and you and AI. And Julie and I were talking about this, moving into an area where you can also provide sort of emotional regeneration for people who are, like all of us, very, very stressed by the world that we live in. So good on you for that.
Yeah.
Julie,
Well,
what
it's
did
nice
you
to
want to
see.
add?
I think it's such a nice balance to have such a high tech vocation and then a side hustle that is just completely hands on. It just makes for a nice contrast, a little grounding.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I wouldn't call the Smash Room a side hustle though. That's for
Right,
sure.
right, right.
Yeah.
But for the purposes of our conversation today.
Yeah, sure, sure.
And Vincent, before we do any more, can you tell? I know I was reading a lot about Founders Workshop, so can you describe that briefly? Because that sounds like one of your main pieces you're doing, and it sounds like it's very effective.
Yeah, so a founders workshop, we develop software. We do a lot more than develop software. In fact, when folks come to us and they have like, a spec sheet and they ask how much to develop this software, we usually turn them away or refer them to somebody else. That's not our value proposition. Our value proposition is understanding a business inside and out. Look, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've been doing this a long time. I've owned numerous businesses throughout my life. And I know how to start businesses. I know how to get ideas that are in somebody's head and make software out of it. I understand go-to-markets. I understand competitive. I understand all that stuff. And that's what we do at Founders Workshop. We do a deep dive into the entrepreneur, the SMB's business before we do any tech talk whatsoever. So we're a different type of dev shop. We're much more focused on alignment in business than we are in technology. The technology is the easy part. Anybody can build software. Seriously, anybody can build software. That's the easy part. The hard part is, are you going to build the right software? Are you going to be an order taker and say, yes, yes, yes? We don't play those kind of games. We don't like it. We push back a lot. When an entrepreneur says, we want to build this, we say, why? Isn't other people already doing it? Why is yours better? So we push back really, really hard on our customers.
A lot of people, though, really, it's not easy for them to build software. And so, I think that's one of the reasons why we wanted you to come on and describe a little bit about the work you do and how people can get people whose knowledge and skills in this particular area are more rudimentary, although their skills in their particular business or industrial specialization may be very high. How we help connect that for them. Because I have a lot of clients who are saying, Joel, I really want to do more of this, but how do I do it?
Sure. And when you say, are you talking about like folks who are domain experts in a certain business, they want to break out and start their own business? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm talking about people who own or work for a company and they want to use AI, generative AI more effectively or use it at all. And they're not really dialed in. And their business is doing well, but their AI development is primitive.
Yeah, sure, sure. So I actually do get that a lot. I get folks coming to me literally all the time and asking questions like, hey, I hear that AI is really big and I want to add it to my business. I don't know where to start. Or, hey, I just got laid off. They're replacing me with AI. 50, 60 years old, whatever it is, and I just don't know what to do going forward. So, there is going to be a lot of job displacement. Job displacement is starting right now. And what I recommend to everybody is, the best way to get started with AI is to use it every single day. And I don't want to sound like, cliche or anything like that, but I would not go look to take a 2-year study at a university for it. I wouldn't even look to download a book and read a book on it. It's changing so incredibly fast that the only way to really keep up is to use it every single day. What was really hot last month is kind of old now. And what is hot today is going to be old tomorrow. I've never seen anything.
That might make it hard, though, for people who are in that you described very well the business owner who I work with who wants to bring more AI into their company. And really, because they're the boss, they're really in charge, but they don't really know what they're doing. So given the rapid change of development, how do they what's the recommendation? How do they grab onto platforms to begin to integrate when the change is at the pace it is and their knowledge base is low?
Okay, so as far as business owners are concerned, there's a few things that I suggest for them. First of all, when it comes to any type of AI transformation, I tell them to look at the culture first, okay? And this is really, really big. I have clients that have come to me and say, look, Vincent, we don't want to fire anybody, but we also want to grow the company and not hire anybody. Okay, that's your goal. I get it. That's your culture. Then I have companies that come to me and say, Vincent, my goal is to lay off 25 to 50% of my workforce. So that they clearly want to do that and they don't want to hire anybody else. But that's a trend we're starting to see across the board. A lot of major companies like Duolingo and Fiverr and companies like that have mandates out there that essentially say, before you hire anybody in your department, for a manager or anything, before you hire anybody in the department, you have to show how AI cannot do this job. You have to prove 100% that AI cannot do this job before you hire another human. And these mandates, publicly, you can find them at a few places, but these mandates are across the board. So you have to understand that as an employee, I know you're talking about business owners, but as an employee, I cannot stress how important it is to use AI every single day for literally everything you can. And I can get into strategies for that. Now, as far as business owners are concerned, the culture of—
Well, wait, before you do that, that was a very key point. So go ahead, give us that strategy for employees who need to be using AI every day and are not, and are confused and don't want to lose their job. And their job's not necessarily intrinsically immediately replaceable by AI. So what's the strategy for them to get a higher level of competence immediately?
Yeah, so the strategy for a higher level of competence is, first of all, choose one of the major platforms out there to get familiar with.
And what do you recommend?
Well, it depends on what your business is and what your personality is. But I would say definitely look into XAI. Grok is amazing and really, really good. Of course, OpenAI is the leader, and everybody uses OpenAI. Claude is very good, and I always recommend Claude to anybody who has to do a lot of writing or a lot of coding. It probably is the best coder right now. Claude Sonnet and Opus 4 are the best at coding right now, and writing too. And then
okay, so let's just stop, and so all our listeners who have been checking us out about that, you just heard 4 recommendations of the primary platforms.
Google was the 4th one.
And Google's the 4th one, okay. And Julie, did you want to say something about that? Because this is a very critical point. We're sorry to stop you, Vincent, but a lot of our listeners need to know about this.
Please.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah, I mean, Vince, it would be so fun to just let you roll, but we are going to interrupt because we have so many questions. I had a client less than an hour ago before this very recording, and he is at a major healthcare organization who is about to do a 30% RIF, not necessarily because of AI, mostly because of funding issues. And my client is possibly going to be dislocated, but he's not sure. And the reason that he's hoping he isn't is because there is talk that if they can get the right funding, that they are going to begin to initiate AI projects throughout the organization. And he is the chief content architect at this organization, and he hasn't had a chance to get his arms around AI yet and how it can affect the content strategy for a company. And he desperately wants that exposure. So my guidance to him was, if you can't get it here, be sure that you find that in your next job, because it's going to happen no matter where you go. So you need to get on the cutting edge of it. And other than making sure that he's navigating toward exposure and engagement with AI at a highly sophisticated level as soon as possible, tell me what else I could have told him in terms of specific platforms or what types of projects, or like Joel keeps saying, where do you begin? Where does somebody like him even begin?
Okay, great question. So where does somebody begin? So we're talking about 2 different things here. One from the employee level and one from the business owner level. So we're starting with the employee level. What I would do to start with is again, choose one of the major platforms. Go to all four of them, but choose one of them: Grok, Claude, Gemini, or ChatGPT. Okay, and upgrade to the highest paid version that you can tolerate. Okay, Gemini is $250 a month, I believe. ChatGPT is $200 a month. Claude starts at $100 a month, and Grok is $300 a month. Choose the one you like the best. You don't have to, pay for it to decide. You use the free version, play around with it, and say, yeah, I vibe with this one, and then get it. From there, do not wait for your employer to go ahead and get this for you. Do not wait for permission from your employer. Do not wait at all. This is 100% personal. Don't say, well, my employer won't give me a budget for this. Well, it's too bad. If your employer won't give you a budget for it, do it on your own, and don't make excuses. If you want to keep a job and make money, that is. So I would choose one of those four, and then, spend 2 to 3 hours a day, 7 days a week on it. All right. Look, I would love.
Let me jump in and say, when you say spend 2 to 3 hours a day, that's fine. But doing what on the platform? Just exploring
the platforms. Okay. There is so much to explore. There's so much to explore.
And when you say explore, you're essentially saying have the platform write various things for you, have them do tasks that you're now doing that can be replaced by the platform. Like I need to write this particular document, and I'm going to give it to Claude and have Claude write it. See how they do, that kind of thing, evaluate it.
Well, yes, of course, absolutely. But really, we're talking about more nuanced stuff. Like, for instance, let's talk about something else. Yes, of course, writing emails and stuff like that is really, really good. But let's talk about something that maybe, for instance, if you're a business owner and you want to say, okay, I need AI to my business, but I have no idea where to start. Well, what I suggest to start with is, first of all, just speak out loud your processes. Okay, let's say I have different business processes, like here's how I do accounting, here's how I do sales, here I do AR and AP or whatever. Go ahead and describe all your processes. A stream of consciousness. Maybe you can speak it or type it, because most people don't have the documentation. We all know that. Then from there, go ahead and take that, and it can be raw data, with a bunch of ums and uhs. Drop it into Claude, and then tell Claude to go ahead and create a mermaid flow diagram in Artifacts. And then what Claude will do is it'll create a visual flow diagram of your entire process and usually get it right the first time. Okay. Then once you have this flow diagram, you can take it and then input it into a new AI or a new chat like in Claude and say, here's my flow diagram, business process for accounts payable. I want to go ahead and see some ROI in AI. What are certain parts of this process I can replace with AI right now? And then it'll give you some recommendations. And then from there, you can look at either implementing it yourself or looking for somebody who can help you do it. So that's one example of just what I'm talking about as a simple workflow that you do in AI. And workflows is going to be the key, is that a lot of this is going to be workflowing from one system to another or one feature to another. And there's tons of examples of workflows that I can go over with you.
Okay. Good.
I mean, and I think that comes down to the prompting. A lot of us are already, I'm an early adopter of, the Chat GPT and my daughter is a, Gemini user, and everybody has their own flavor. And I would say I'm probably on it a couple hours a day. Honestly, I think once you get the value of it, it starts to become an incredible resource. I like what you're talking about for business owners. And I think, our angle here, Vincent, of course, is we're here helping America's workforce navigate career paths and opportunities and threats to their career trajectory. So I would think that might even be a good defensive strategy for somebody who is maybe working, in your case, in your example, in accounts. I think you said accounts payable. Like maybe they should go in and talk about their processes and figure out like where the opportunities and threats are for them, or how they could incorporate AI to leverage what they're doing, and have AI be a part of their toolkit for defending their value in their career and in their company.
Julie, let me just jump in and say that was a real key point for mid-career or older career people, because defending their position based on a greater knowledge, just what you said, and I can't say it as well as you did, that's a really important use of AI. We should do a special little segment on that. We'll do it in the future.
You know what I think AI is, you guys? I think AI is kind of starting with AI is kind of like starting the IRA. The hardest part is opening the account and setting up the automatic deposit. Once you do that, it starts to work. I think people just need to download the Gemini or the Chat GPT or whichever platform they want. And just like Vincent said, just start the process. Because once you work with it, you're going to see the value in it, and the value, at least to me and to my family and to some of my colleagues, is exponentially growing. Now, I'm not building websites with it, and I'm not designing departments with it, but I definitely architect a lot of my additional services that I do, workshops and online programs behind the scenes, and I actually will take an idea of something I want to do, and I will layer in career theory, like my body of knowledge, my academic knowledge, and I'm training my Chat GPT to understand exactly how I counsel people to build a platform that works, that could work for other people. And so it's interesting how trainable it is, and how flexible we have to be in our thinking about how to speak to AI. Like Vincent said, you just have to open the treasure chest, tell it every single process, give it every single piece of information. You would be shocked at how much information it can ingest and process in one pass.
So you're saying, Julie, that in your work, you're delivering a lot of what's very special about your professional knowledge into the AI platform you're utilizing, and that's being integrated into its overall projection.
Correct. And a lot of that is because I'm trying to test it to see if it can career counsel
Right.
as well as I can. It can
Right.
definitely give good advice, but there are some human factors that it can't do, at least yet in my field. It can't incorporate all the theories unless it's taught the theories. It can't write resumes as well as I can. It doesn't do strategy and timing of career choice and changes as well as a counselor can. It can do some basics, and it can do a lot of fill in and fluff, but it doesn't do it at it. And there's an exactness that it's missing, which is what I'm hearing from the software development community as well, that it can code, but it always needs a little cleanup. I'm hearing that from the writing community. It can write, but it always needs a little bit of cleanup. So maybe, Vincent, you could talk to us about kind of the sloppiness or the opaqueness of some of the results of AI, and how the cleanup crew, if you will, the specialists can make the best use or the most optimization out of an AI tool.
Yeah, sure. So it really all starts with a prompt, right? And let's kind of talk about that. You'll hear folks say, look, I tried AI, I asked it to do this, and it gave me a bad answer. Usually what the issue is that your prompt sucks. You're just really bad at writing prompts. You just never learned how to do it, and that's okay. Think about an employer and an employee. An employer who gives really good instructions to his employee is going to get a lot more out of that employee than the employer that says, yeah, clean the back room, and not really provide any instructions. So it's working with the AI is very similar to working with the human. So I say that when you start a prompt, you should think about really 6 major things in that prompt. Okay, the first one is the role. Okay, what is the role? Okay, you are to act as a real estate agent. You are to act as a residential real estate agent. You're to act as a residential real estate agent who sells houses in North Scottsdale. So think about the role really carefully. That's going to make a huge difference. The next thing is the input. You're going to have to define what the input is to the AI and let the AI know what the input is going to be beforehand. Next, you need to let the AI know what the output is going to be. So define how you want this output and exactly what you're looking for the AI in the output. The next thing, of course, is the actual task and goal that you want the AI to do. The fifth thing is any kind of constraints. What are constraints? Like, for instance, maybe you want the AI to look for places for a tropical vacation in 2026, but the constraint is it must be in the Western Hemisphere. And then finally, the 6th component is tool use. Which tools that are connected to your AI do you want it to use? For instance, do you want it to use your CRM? Do you want it to use your email? Do you want it to send out an email on your behalf and things like that? Okay, that's how to write a prompt. Now, let's say that, you're like that. Okay, I get it, but I'm still having trouble doing it. Well, what you can do from there is you can actually write a prompt to tell the AI that you need a prompt in the following format: role, task, constraint, input, output, and etc. And that the input will be just an idea, and then the AI will write the prompt for you that you can dump into another AI. So you can use AI to write the prompts for you to dump into another AI, and that's called prompt engineering. Now, on top of prompt engineering, which Julie was hinting at, is called context engineering. And context engineering is just as important, actually, if not more important than prompt engineering. And context engineering is providing the AI all of the context that you need in order for it to do its job. So maybe you might connect your Google Drive. Maybe you'll connect your SharePoint. Maybe you'll connect your email. Maybe you'll connect all of it. Maybe you'll tell it, look, I want you do this whole entire prompt, and the output is I want you to email in my voice. So then I'm going to have to go check the knowledge base of my emails and see what my voice is. So that's context engineering. And context engineering essentially is when you pay for one of the major platforms, you'll be able to bring in everything that you work with and have it as part of the prompt. So prompt engineering and context engineering are two things you want to do a lot of research on, and use AI to write your prompts. It actually works very, very well.
When you share this kind of engineering with AI, and the things that you're sharing are also, like for me as a business coach, and a business consultant, a lot of confidential material. How is that handled in terms of what AI has and what they do? In other words, I would like my AI to be able to use my voice. The problem with that is that I have a very sophisticated voice. I'm a great writer. I've been writing for 50 years. I know how to say exactly what I need to say to a client to convince them to do what I want them to do, whether it's buying a tool, hiring an employee, etc. So I guess you're saying give them all of my context, my content, and let them do their thing, and don't worry about the proprietary, confidential nature of that.
Okay, so a few things there. First of all, let's talk about copyright, and then let's talk about giving it the context. As far as the copyright is concerned, I would say that your privacy with AIs is about as secure as your privacy when you email somebody or you drop something in your
Okay, that's important to know.
Right. So, if you're concerned about emailing somebody something that somebody else might see, I suggest not to use email.
Because in a lot of business situations that I'm in, especially transactional negotiation and mediation, we are very careful about what we email because it could be compromised. So you're saying use those same standards applicable to what you dump into AI.
Right, yeah, exactly. So if you're using the free version of the AIs, the terms and conditions are they can use whatever you upload as part of their training data. Now, which is not surprising because the same thing with Facebook and Instagram. Everything you put on there is 100% Facebook.
Right.
Your private messages on Facebook are Facebook's property.
Right.
Okay. Now, on the enterprise versions and most paid versions of these, they don't train on your data. So that's the whole idea. You just get a paid version, look at the terms and conditions of each of them because they're all different, okay? But for the highest tiers on all of them, none of them train. And some of the lower tiers, some of them don't train. And some allow you to just check opt out of training. ChatGPT allows you to do that. So you're going to have to, everyone has to do their own research, but they do train on some of them. Some of them don't train if you opt out or pay for the higher version. How secure is it? Just as secure as email and Google Drive.
So they integrate your material, but don't train on it if you either opt out or buy a higher version.
When you say integrate, could you define that a little more, Joel?
They utilize my material, in developing what I want them to develop. They utilize my voice. They utilize my knowledge, my sophistication, my strategic advantages.
Oh, yeah, sure, right, yeah. They'll go ahead and input all of that into the AI, and then they'll create an output from it. Yeah. So everything of it will be an input, right? Yeah, exactly. Okay. Oh, and the second question was we talked about copyright and then
right.
You want to create something just for you. Okay, so if I was to create something for Joel Siegel, the very first thing I would do is try to get as much context from you as possible and build a prototype using traditional, models that we have out there right now just by adding context, and we'll see how close it comes. So then from there, I would go ahead and fine-tune a model. And fine-tuning a model means to go ahead and take one of the models you really like and kind of brainwash it to speak just like Joel. So fine-tuning a model is not very difficult. Anybody can do it. It actually doesn't take very long and is not very expensive, but it allows you to put that model on rails. Like for instance, if you go to a chatbot for Pizza Hut, and it's only going to order pizza. If you ask it about nuclear submarines, while it could know, it won't answer. It'll say, I'm not designed to answer that. So the idea is for the Joel chatbot would be that it is now fine-tuned to be on rails for Joel Siegel and only Joel Siegel. So if I ask it, hey, how do I make a grilled cheese sandwich? You go, yeah, I like grilled cheese, but I'm not here to tell you how to make grilled cheese sandwiches. I can give you business advice though. And that's what fine-tuning would do.
Is fine-tuning done in the same way as the utilization of the platform in general, or are there special, tools that you use for this fine-tuning?
There are special tools to use for fine-tuning. It's fine-tuning in the essence is, how when you put in a user prompt and you get back a prompt from the assistant? Well, fine-tune is essentially creating a whole bunch of examples of inputs and outputs that you'd want to see, and then giving that to the model and then fine-tuning it and then testing it. And, if you over fine-tune it, it's going to sound wonky. And if you don't fine-tune it enough, it's going to be too broad. So it's a skill, but it's also an art too. And I want to emphasize the art thing because I think that roles are going to be flipped over the next 5 to 10 to 15 years. Traditionally, those who are not really paid very much, teachers, authors, people like that, I think are going to be the superstars of the future because, look, when you prompt an AI, you're programming it. Hands down, 100%, you are literally programming it. And I can get into the details of how neural nets work if you're interested in why it's programming, but it is absolutely 100% programming. In fact, as a programmer, we essentially have 3 tools right now. The first tool is code. All right, we've had code since for decades. The second tool is that if you ever want to use any neural net, you just have to know the weights and biases of the neural nets. But the third one is prompting. Every good developer today needs to know how to prompt. The problem is most developers are not articulate and can't explain shit to anybody. So what's going to happen is the heroes and the highest paid people of the future are going to be the ones who can articulate and explain the best. My business is toast. It is complete toast right now. Anybody can be a programmer. When I say anybody, I mean literally anybody can vibe code an application today if you're willing just to learn how to vibe code. So things are changing, and it's going to favor those who are articulate and know how to explain and are good at critical thinking. And how do you get started? Take my advice, get one of the 4, pay for it, and use it for literally everything.
Okay, this is great input. Sorry, Julie, go ahead.
I think it makes such a case for writers. Everybody's so afraid that writers are going to be the first to go with AI because AI does a wonderful job of writing. I mean, I'm pleasantly surprised and delighted that I have not found one single spelling, punctuation, or grammar error. And I've been using AI for a long time. My mom was an English teacher, so that's actually quite important to me. And I think that a lot of people are afraid because AI is so good with writing, not just grammar, punctuation, and spelling, but the prose itself, the information organization itself, that writers are going to be the first to go. And I beg to differ. I beg to people to flip that and think that writers, like you're saying, teachers, writers are going to become the most important AI prompters because they have the ability to organize information exactly like you're giving us the rubric to do in a very clear and effective way. That's how their brain thinks. That's what they do. That's what they've been trained to do. And they are probably, in my opinion, the ones who are going to end up being able to get the most optimization out of an AI prompt because of their ability to develop those quality prompts. So instead of replacing writers, if there are any bosses out there listening, hire the writers for your AI prompting. That's kind of my general opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you. It seems like the vast majority of this conversation is how do we help those who are feeling threatened by AI more than the business leaders. So let's kind of get back into that a little bit. So you mentioned prompt writing. Another thing is everybody's familiar with thinking mode, right? You've seen thinking mode in AI. And the cool thing about thinking mode is that you could expand thinking mode to see how it thinks. So next time you enter a prompt, if you're not getting the results you want, go into thinking mode and see all of its thoughts, and that could give you an assist on where it went wrong. Now, take that a step further and copy the thinking mode and paste it into a brand new context window or a different AI and say, here's what so-and-so thought, but I didn't quite get it. Where did they go wrong? So the idea is always to be workflowing from one AI to another or one context window to another. As I do recommend Google AI Studio I do recommend Google AI Studio. And the reason why I recommend Google AI Studio is that it allows you to roll up your sleeves and do things, not all the things, but a lot of the things that only programmers can do. Like for instance, you can set the temperature in Google AI Studio, and temperature is a setting that essentially determines how deterministic or how creative your output is going to be. With AI, I just set the temperature, but you can in Google AI Studio. And so, what does temperature do? Like for instance, if I want to do creative writing, I might turn the temperature up really high. I might turn it up to the point where it hallucinates. And why would I want it to hallucinate in creative writing? So I can get interesting ideas I never thought of before. So turning up the hallucinations really high on creative writing could give you interesting ideas. However, if you just need facts and answers, you might want to turn the temperature a little down so it doesn't make anything up. So yeah, try Google AI Studio. Google AI Studio also has a function called Build in it, where you can build your own applications using just prompts. And it uses Gemini as the back end to integrate any AI into applications you want to build. So Julie, you might want to consider building a rudimentary application for what you're working on, where it could ingest the resumes and then give advice based on the resume. So I'll go to Google AI Studio and build that. If you also want to do some vibe coding, I recommend Lovable and Bolt. Those are two really good applications for beginners to do vibe coding. Now, vibe coding is not something for somebody that is technical or is even tech savvy. All you have to do is be able to speak articulately. There are a lot of...
What was the name of that platform again you just said?
You can try Lovable.
Right.
Those are the two easiest right now. And then, of course, in Google AI Studio, use the build. That's really good, too. So those are the easiest right now to use. I have a lot more if you're already a coder or already tech savvy, but those are the two to start out with. And, go ahead and, vibe code something, Julie, for your business and see how it goes. When you vibe code, I do recommend doing it in iterations, not trying to go ahead and build one huge application with one prompt, but to slowly iterate over it. You'll get the best results that way. And if anybody's interested in getting started with vibe coding like that, you can reach out to me. I'd be happy to help you.
Well, we've been looking for an expert just like you to share with people that we work with and listeners of the podcast, the kinds of tools and the kinds of attitudes and approaches you've given us today. So this has really been an incredibly helpful podcast. I can't wait to launch this podcast and see how all the kinds of reactions we have, because everything you've given both business leaders and employees is incredibly useful. And also you did create specific roadmaps for what people need to do. And that's what people need. That's what seems to be missing, because a lot of people are beyond that stage already, so they don't bother with the roadmap because they already know, they already have that down. So the fact that you've done that is a real service, and I'm real grateful to you.
Yeah. Hey, Julie, you use ChatGPT a lot, right?
All the time.
Okay, so ChatGPT is, I think, might be one of the only ones that will remember every one of your conversations, even the ones that you delete. So you can have some fun with ChatGPT, by the way. Like, for instance, you can say, based on everything you know about me, draw what you think I look like. Or based on everything you know about me, where would be my favorite vacation to go to? Or, hey, next time you're at a restaurant, just take a picture of it and ask ChatGPT, based on everything you know about me, what should I order?
That's so funny. It definitely knows me, and it early in the beginning, like you said, it uses, our information to kind of teach itself. We're training it. And it was starting to move into a different response style, a different tone to me, and it didn't sit well with me. So I stopped everything I was doing, and I spent about a week just training my assistant to work with me in the tone that I wanted to be spoken to, and to make sure that that mirrored me and the type of support or correction that I needed, because I have good ego strength. I like a little bit of correction at the right time, and I'm looking to improve myself. At the same time, I need empathy. I'm a gentle person. And so I've kind of manipulated my assistant to work with me in a way that removes any of the replicated interpersonal dynamics, interpersonal friction. So for what it's worth, people who are sensitive to communication styles, even that you can train your assistant to master. And so it's really learned my voice, back to, it would be fun I'm going to do that next time I go to dinner, by the way. I think I'll do that this weekend. But I ask it a lot of times, like, can you just am I tracking here? Like, am I on, am I thinking too hard about this or that? And it's just really interesting to give it. It's almost like you're forming its personality at as you go. And to the extent you want to do that, I think, a lot of people look for like the perfect therapist or the perfect, resource for career counseling or executive coaching in Joel's case or whatever. And they want to know if it's a fit, and you can make your assistant be the perfect fit for you, which is very nice. Before we wrap completely up, because I think we could talk for hours, I'm going to
I could easily go on for hours. Usually when I do these presentations, they're 2 to 3 hours long.
Yeah. And for anybody in the greater Phoenix area, Vincent has a Wednesday night presentation that you do?
No, I'm doing it Wednesdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's called AI Ask Me Anything, and just come out and ask questions.
That's fantastic. Is this something you do in Phoenix, and you do virtually too, Vince? What do you?
I prefer in person, so I don't do it virtually. I don't get paid for this. I'm not looking for any business from it. I just do it to give back. So
yeah, that's fantastic. Really glad you shared that.
Before we wrap up, I have to ask the burning question, and you can decline to answer. I'm just wondering if you'd be so bold as to go out on a limb, or if you think that you have some information that's valuable for us. What jobs are at highest risk? What's the lowest hanging fruit?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I would love to go ahead and answer this. Okay, so jobs at the highest risk. Without sounding dystopian, guys, there are many, many jobs at risk. We're going to be entering an unemployment apocalypse, okay? A lot of companies are laying off right now because of AI. The vast majority are not saying because of AI, because that's not politically correct. But it is. Listen, I am on this stuff every single day for hours a day. I am working on the most cutting edge stuff. If you guys want to go for a few more hours, we can talk about this. But let me tell you, what's coming down the pipe is both crazy exciting and crazy scary. I hate to say this, but I wouldn't recommend going into computer programming. It's just too easy to code right now, way too easy to code right now. Certainly don't go into customer support. Look, I can go down a long list of what not to go into. What you should be focusing on instead is how to utilize AI in your current job, if you even can, or even more than that, is understanding how to manage agents. The ability to manage agents, agentic workflows, and multiple agents on your job is going to be essentially a requirement for every single white-collar job going forward. Now, I know we haven't dived into agents right now, but it is literally everything that if you want to keep your job, you should be aware of that's coming down the pipe extremely fast. If you guys want to do another episode on it or join me at one of the AMAs, I'm more than happy to dive into it.
Okay, well, Julie, I'm really glad you asked that question. It was the critical question. I have like 5 critical questions. I'm not going to ask any because we're out of time. But, we really have had a fantastic experience with you, Vincent. And I know that all of our listeners will not only really get a lot out of this experience, but hopefully will utilize other platforms and other context that you have to gain knowledge. One of the things about learning about AI and learning about higher tech things is that a lot of the trainers are actually extremely poor communicators. They're really more in their heads, and they really don't know how to speak to people. Like I'm not a great tech person, but I'm a great communicator. And so is Julie. And so the fact that you have those skills as well has been a distinct pleasure today, and I'm really grateful for you coming on the show.
show pretty soon. There's look for a company called Cluely. Cluely's tagline is cheap at everything. And what they basically have is a pair of the glasses that are similar to Ray-Ban, but the Ray-Ban Meta ones. But instead
Right.
of the indicator that the camera and audio is on, it keeps it off at all times, and then has something that whispers in your ear. So if you want to do a job interview, if you want to go on a date or something like that, it'll tell you what to say when it's time to say it. It's called
Wow.
Clue.
Could be big time. Could be big time for dating. That's for sure.
Oh my gosh, they finally.
Their viral video is a date. You got to see it. It's really funny.
Wow. Wow.
Oh, I
Okay.
love
Well, we have to wrap up. Vincent, once again, our great thanks to you for coming on the show. My ask of you is that at some point in the not too distant future, you come on again and let us pick that big brain of yours and see what you've got for us.
I'm happy to come on anytime, or if you guys just want to get together and chat. It's passion, as you can see. Thanks a lot for having me on, guys. Take care.
Thank you so much.
Vincent. I really appreciate you.
Okay, Julie. Well, we're just about out of time because Vincent was so compelling and so interesting. I think one of the things we did want to achieve was to try to give baseline users some understanding of what's going on, and I think we achieved that today. Do you?
Absolutely. And I think the most important takeaway for everybody here is that you just learned in less than an hour more than you could have searching the internet for half a day, because you would have gotten confused, you would have gotten disoriented, you wouldn't have known where to start or where to stop. Even if you prompted AI to give you the initial journey into starting to become an AI adopter, you would have somehow bounced out of that because it's so disorienting and complex. But the takeaway itself is that a human still matters. Vincent did for early adopters today, people who are ready to adopt, he did today in less than an hour what a computer just can't. And so I love that there's so much that AI is going to do for America and for technology and innovation and forward progress. But I'm so appreciative of humans who are here to assist. We are the ultimate assistants.
And Vincent sure proved that today. He
Yes,
really
he did.
He really had a way of walking. I mean, this is what, for all of our listeners, Julie and I had been talking about this privately, and we have been looking for a guest who could help our listeners who are not that sophisticated, both business owners and employees, get into this. And Julie, congratulations again for knowing Vincent and bringing him on the show. And I think we were able to utilize his skills, and I think we'll have him back.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because as AI unfolds in the workplace, and I'm starting to hear about it about every third session, we're talking about AI. My clients are starting to talk about how AI is affecting their job or their workplace or this or that. I'm hearing the good, the bad, and the ugly. Believe it or not, I'm hearing all different sides of it, that it is going to take over, that a lot of people are not as optimistic about AI as Vincent is. So there are other opinions out there. Remember, we had Brett on the show last session, and he was not as optimistic as Vincent. So a couple different competing opinions out there, and that's okay. Everybody needs to jump in. I think that's the big message today: is dive in, get started, practice with it, and learn how to engineer those prompts and contexts.
And if we have Vincent back again, I would like to talk with him a little bit about, because what I'm hearing from business owners that I work with, small to me, is what do I do? How do I use this? How do I save money? And, that's kind of a code for, I'm going to fire people. I'm going to lay people off. I'm not going to, I want to have my business cost me less and make me more. And in human terms, that's a very significant statement.
Yeah.
So I think when we have Vincent on again, we want to talk about how you and I, as executives and coaches and consultants, can work with business owners to achieve those goals while not decimating the human workforce that's the lifeblood of any company.
And in the spirit of the glass possibly being half full, AI is going to create industries. There's a lot that's going to be born out of this. So hope springs.
Oh, that's just because you're so positive. You've got such a wonderful outlook that I'm glad you said that.
Yep.
Okay, well, we have to wrap up. It's time. As Billy Crystal said, that's 5 minutes. So we will see everyone and see you all soon again on another episode of Career Lab Podcast. Be sure to check Apple Podcasts or any platform where you get your shows. We're on all of them. Go back and look at our archive. If I wanted to say this today before we finish, one of the things we haven't done in a little bit, but we do, and we have done, is sometimes guests come on the show who have deeper problems, more complicated career problems. And Julie, with my assistance, has been really great in helping those people understand and solve those problems, because all problems aren't just A, B. Sometimes there's Z, A, B, Y, D, D, and all those other things. So if you want to go back over through our archive, please try to find those shows. And I know when I listen to podcasts, some of my favorite shows, if I'm hearing Alec Baldwin or Mark Maron or someone else, are the archive shows that were really meaningful to me because of what the host and the guest discussed. And we have those. So go find them.
There's a lot of good career advice on those episodes.
Boy, you got that straight. Okay, everyone. We'll see you soon. Take care.